Welcome back to Zakima's Ridge Homestead. Today's video, once again, is another one of our Community of 8 Preparedness Group classes. Today, we'll be taking the rifle that we mounted the scope on in our last video down to the range and doing the zeroing process. Hello, and welcome to our channel. We're glad you're here.
Hi there, welcome to the cold, muddy ground. So on our last video, we went over how to properly mount a rifle scope. Now we're going to zero that scope that we mounted on the rifle that we mounted it on. So there's a bunch of different ways to zero a scope. You can laser bore sight it and then go out to the range and zero it. You can just start shooting and start adjusting. I've zeroed a lot of rifles over the years. And for those rifles that you can look down the bore, I find the easiest and fastest method is to bore sight them by physically looking through the chamber and down the bore at the target. So I have a target down here at 50 yards. You don't want to do it any more than 25 to 50 yards. I'm going to look straight down that bore and center a 6-inch target in the middle of that bore. Then don't move the gun. And then bring my head up into alignment. I'm going to see how far off that scope is. So I'm going to look. Center it. See how far off it is. So right now, I'm a little bit high, but the reticle is just about touching the target, which is close enough to get started. Now when you're zeroing, when you're bore sighting for your first shot, you want to make sure that you have a large enough target that you're going to find that first shot that you shoot. So we're using a huge 18 by 36 poster board, and we're going to shoot our first shot at a 6-inch target right about in the middle right-hand side of that target so that we can try to capture where that first round's hitting. Once we can identify where the first round hits, we can make our adjustments from there. So now that it's about where it should be, which you would just adjust your scope and keep looking at your bore until it's where you want it to be. We're going to reassemble this firearm. Put it back into the rest. And we're going to take our first shot to see how it goes. Everyone got their eyes and ears on?
You go for that far left target?
Yep. Ready?
Yep.
Got a call?
I do not see it on there.
Alright, keep an eye on it. Let me try one more time.
Bottom left.
Yep, I see it. So I'm going to turn the safety back on. I'm going to put that reticle right on the target. And I'm going to adjust it till I'm over that dot. Then I'm going to make the second shot. In this case, the third, because we didn't see the first one. Let me know when you're ready.
Yep, you're good. Looks like same spot, just above it a little bit.
How much higher above it?
Looks like about an inch.
Let me do one more to confirm. Alright, so that one's way high actually.
Yep, I see him now.
now one of the key things to remember when zeroing your scope is that if your round is shooting high, you want to adjust downwards. If your round is shooting low, you want to adjust upwards. If you're shooting left, you want to adjust right, and if you're shooting right, you want to adjust left. It's basically the opposite of wherever it's actually hitting, and that's the direction that you want to go. You can use zeroing targets to see how many exact inches you're off, but right now during the bore sighting process, it's just about getting on the paper. Once we're on the paper, we can start the zeroing process. All right, ready?
Yep. Top of the circle.
Ready?
Yep.
Wait 20 seconds. So we had a click, but no bang. Light primer strike. Probably from that plastic hammer. All right, we're going to try again. Ready?
Yep. You're
That one was
low at
awfully
the
low.
bottom of the circle.
Now sometimes during the zeroing process, when you make your adjustments, you're going to want to tap your scope. On the lower end optics, sometimes those springs, especially on a new scope, they're going to be stiff. And if you don't tap your scope after you make your adjustments, it won't actually move it. So you might be constantly chasing the adjustment without ever it actually going into adjustment because you need to tap it into place. Some of the higher end scopes, you don't got to worry about that because the springs are already nice and worn in. Ready?
Yep. Just above the dot.
Ready?
Yep. Just below the dot.
Same exact hole as that first one.
Yep.
Bullseye. All right. So we're now on a 1-inch bullseye at 50 yards. After this point is when we want to confirm that this scope is adjusting the way we want it to adjust. So in theory, this scope should be giving us half-inch clicks at 100 yards because it's a half MOA adjustment scope per click. So it should be a half-inch at 100, which means it's going to be a 1/4 of an inch at 50. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause this video for a minute, get another mag going, and then we're going to do what's called a long target test. All right, so this is the result of our bore sighting process to get a relative zero. So our first shot actually was right here, but we didn't notice it because we couldn't see it with the binoculars that we were using, and I couldn't see it with that low-powered scope I was using. So we thought that didn't exist, so I made a bunch of adjustments, and then this was our second shot. We made a third shot for confirmation, which ended up coming here to make sure that we were actually in that area that we were thinking we were shooting in. Then our next shot was this one down here, which was from the over adjustment to go downwards to see where we were at. Then the next shot was here, next shot was here, then there for the adjustment, then back up here, then our center bullseye to let us know that we're pretty much where we want to be. Now typically you would put 2 or 3 into there to make sure you're in the right area, but for the rifle that we're using, we're not expecting a fantastic group with the rifle and ammo that we're using. So a group about the size of your thumb at 50 yards is about what I would expect with the AR that we're using this with. So our next task is going to be to come over here and do what's called a long target test. This is what's going to confirm that our scope and our ballistic data that we have on that bullet drop compensator is accurate. So what we're going to do is we're going to confirm 0 first by shooting at one of these bullseyes. It doesn't matter which one. This one would probably work out better just because it's easier. And then we're going to shoot at this one, and we're going to confirm that we're hitting somewhere within this ring. Then we're going to start making scope adjustments. And at 50 yards, with the half MOA adjustments, it's going to turn into a quarter click. So each one of these squares is going to represent, in theory, 4 clicks from the 50 yards that we're at. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 up, and 2 over, which should put us somewhere in here that our shot should be hitting. And that's going to be 12 clicks and 8 clicks. So we're going to do 12 clicks and 8 clicks, and we're going to see from once we confirm it here if we're actually hitting in the ballpark of this red dot or not.
While still aiming.
While still aiming
bullseye.
at the center. Because all we're doing is changing our point of aim, and we're hoping that our point of aim is going to change our point of impact as we're adjusting that scope. And the goal is, once you go through and do all these dots on a target and then return to 0, you're confirming that your adjustments are accurate and that you know how much your adjustments are. If you find during that process that your adjustments are off, like let's say instead of being here, you're all the way over here, you're going to want to start to fine-tune that and see exactly how far your adjustments are, because some scopes, especially lower quality scopes or the more budget-oriented scopes, they're not going to have exactly quarter minute or half minute of angle adjustments. You might get somewhere in between the two or slightly off what it should be, so that each one of your adjustments is going to give you a little bit more, a little bit less than what it should be. And what this is going to do, it's going to let us know for this particular rifle what our adjustments are. Now on a rifle like this one that we built, that's just going to be a general use rifle, it's not going to tell us a whole lot or be very useful unless we tell it to every user that uses it. But if you're at home zeroing in a hunting rifle, a precision rifle, or another type of rifle that you're going to be using on a regular basis, it's going to let you know what your actual adjustments are for your turret adjustments, so that you know every time I click that turret, how far is that affecting my point of impact. Alright. I'm down here doing the long target test. I'm making sure that my reticle is in perfect alignment with the vertical lines on the target that we leveled downrange. The important aspect is that the gun is level and the target's level. We know the gun's level as long as we level the reticle, because we already verified the reticle level inside when we mounted the scope. So as long as we know that that reticle is level and we know that that target's level, as long as I can line up that reticle with the vertical lines on the target, I know that I'm shooting it level and adjusting it level. So I'm going to do a 0 confirmation on the lower dot downrange on the lower target. Then after I do a 3-shot verification of 0, I'm going to make an adjustment vertically up to the other large dot, which should be a 12-inch vertical adjustment, which means it should be 48 clicks. 12 times 4 is 48. 48 clicks. So we're going to start there. Who's on the glass? So I'm going to do 3 shots at that lower target. Once I get this thing lined up. All right, ready?
Yep. Bullseye.
Same spot.
Yep.
I made one big hole. I'm actually surprised with the accuracy of those 3 shots. All right, now I'm going to make my vertical adjustment. Alright, 48. Now I'm going to aim at the same spot, but I should be hitting the one above it. Ready?
Yep. I don't see it. Is that the bullseye?
Bullseye?
Yeah, I believe so.
Alright, now I'm going to come back down. .48. This time I'm going to aim at the top bullseye because I should be back on 0. Ready?
Yep. I think you're just a little high.
We'll do one more.
I think that went the same hole.
Alright, let's go double check. We're safe or empty. Alright, so the results are exactly as I expected for this optic that we're using. We're using a low-powered variable optic, which is not designed to be dialed in between every single shot. It's designed to use the bullet drop compensator built into the reticle. So I was not expecting a very accurate adjustment for each click. And that's exactly what happened with our test. So we have a good 0 confirmation compared to what we'd expect for the grouping for the gun. And then we have 48 clicks, which should have put us right in this circle right here. But really it put us up here and up here. So it was pretty far off by about 8 to 12 clicks of what it should be. And then when I tried to return to 0, it overcompensated down to here and went about 8 more than it should have. So obviously each click is not the same value, and it's not the same value going one way as it is the other way, which was a result that I was expecting for a $200 and something low-powered variable optic with a built-in ballistics drop compensator. So moral of the story is for LPVOs, don't do click adjustments. Do the bullet drop compensator adjustments. Just verify that bullet drop compensator adjustments are correct for the velocity of your ammunition that you're using out of that firearm.